In this video, I'm going to show you how to write a Band 9 answer for a line graph in IELTS Writing Task 1. You will learn how to structure your answer, how to use advanced grammar and vocabulary, and more tips and tricks to improve your band score. If you're going to take your IELTS soon, check out my IELTS materials. There, I teach you everything you need to score high. I show you step by step how to give high-scoring answers, and of course we do many practice tests together so you will feel confident for your test. You can find the link in the description below. And now let's get started. Let's take a look at the task. First, there is a statement which tells you what the line graph is about. The graph below shows the maximum percentage of surface ice covering 3 of the Great Lakes between 2000 and 2020. Then you can see instructions. You have to summarize the main features and make comparisons. Plus, you must write over 150 words. Let's begin by looking at the general trends. As you can see, the data goes up and down a lot. Try to find about 2 main points that you can write about. In this case, you can notice that 2 of the lines are very similar, but the one for Lake Erie is different. The second point you can see is that all the lines drop in 2020. Those are the 2 main points we will write about. Now we can start writing. I use templates for writing this answer. In fact, I always use templates for IELTS writing. Templates are great because they help you write a high-scoring answer. They give you sentence starters which include great vocabulary and organize your answer. This helps you get a better band score. When writing your answer, you simply write down the sentence starter and then you finish the sentence with ideas of your own that fit the topic you are given. To get all the templates you need, click on the link below and check out my IELTS materials. You can find templates for all IELTS writing tasks there. So for all charts in task 1, such as pie charts, line graphs, diagrams, and so on, and all questions in task 2. For example, agree-disagree questions, advantage-disadvantage questions, and much more. The first sentence starter on my template is, "This type of graph describes." Therefore, my first sentence is, "This line graph describes the highest percentage of the lake surface covered by ice in 3 of the Great Lakes from 2000 to 2020. Notice that I indent the first line. Many IELTS students don't use proper essay format when writing a summary, but you must do that for the IELTS. So, what should you write about in the introduction? The introduction should describe the graph. As you can see, I just paraphrased the prompt of the question. I didn't change too many words, but I made adjustments like turning maximum into highest. I also switched the word order. The prompt says percentage of surface ice covering 3 of the Great Lakes, and I wrote percentage of the lake surface covered by ice in 3 of the Great Lakes. Changing the word order is a type of paraphrasing. This shows the IELTS examiner that you understand what the question is about. Here, many of the words are the same, but small changes show that I understand the question and am not just copying it. After you describe the main idea of the graph, talk about the first trend you notice. There is a general trend of similar levels in Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, while Lake Erie followed a different pattern. There is a general trend of is a sentence starter from my template, so that helps write the sentence. Here, I pointed out that there was a lot of similarity between 2 lakes, Lake Superior and Lake Michigan, but not in Lake Erie. I used while to show that the trends happened at the same time. I've described the main points. Do you notice that there are no statistics yet? You don't have to go into more details in the introduction. Just describe the main trends you see. Let's write one more sentence. However, all of the lakes show a sharp decline after 2015. The linking word, however, shows that this point is different from the main trend. I used the year to establish when the decline occurred, but I'm still not using lots of statistics. Instead, I used general terms to show what happens. As you can see, I used a sharp decline. Sharp is an awesome way to say steep or a very large decrease. Make sure you use such words to describe the graph precisely. They also show the IELTS examiner that you have a broad vocabulary, which will improve your band score. By the way, if you want more sample answers for IELTS writing, hit the like button and write yes in the comments. If you want something else, tell me your video wish in the comments so I know what you would like to see on this channel. That's enough for the introduction, and we can move on to the first sentence of the body paragraph. Don't forget to indent the first line, because this is a new paragraph. First, in Lake Superior, there is a considerable variation in the ice coverage, starting at 40% in 2000, with a high of 90% in 2015 and a low of 20% in 2020. First is a simple transition, but it keeps the ideas well organized. Line graphs have a lot of details, so it's better to convey the facts as simply as possible, or the reader will become confused. In fact, it's good to imagine that you are writing for a reader who cannot see the graph. In this sentence, I show that there is a considerable variation in the ice coverage. Considerable means very large. Don't use the word large too much. Instead, paraphrase it by using different words, such as considerable. If you paraphrase, you demonstrate to the IELTS examiner that you have a wide vocabulary, which will make your band score go up. You can find many high-scoring paraphrases like considerable in my template. It includes words for all kinds of changes in charts. This will help you describe the charts precisely and show off your vocabulary. Since the question asks you to write a summary, don't give every data point. Just give the starting point, the highest point, and the lowest point. That's enough for Lake Superior. Let's talk about Lake Michigan. Meanwhile, Lake Michigan has a lower percentage of ice each year, but the changes are consistent in both lakes. I used meanwhile as a linking word to show that the following statement happened at the same time as the first sentence. It's great for showing that the data about the lakes was consistent. Consistent means that the data changed the same way. It's really hard to read sentences that are all packed with statistics, so I didn't put any in this sentence, but I want data to support my claims. I will do that in the next sentence. The high peaked around 80% in 2015, and the low fell to 20% in 2020. Since my first point is that the two lakes were very similar in trends, I gave the high and low for comparison. I used two awesome verbs to describe the data, peaked around and fell to. We've shown that the trends in the lakes are similar now. We could stop here and move on to the next point, but it might be nice to know how similar the trends are. Therefore, let's add one more sentence. The greatest difference between the two lakes was in 2005, when Lake Superior had 50% coverage and Lake Michigan had approximately 30%. I didn't want too much detail, so decided that the greatest difference was enough to show that the lakes were always less than 20% apart. When making a comparison, be sure that the parts are consistent in order and meaning. Have a look at these two parts. Lake Superior had 50% coverage, and Lake Michigan had approximately 30%. Both have the pattern of lake name followed by percent. I added approximately to Lake Michigan because it's a great way to show that the number is not exact, but close. I slipped this in to show off my vocabulary. Make sure you use words like approximately, about, around in IELTS Writing Task 1 because they make your band score go up. Now it's time to mention Lake Erie. By contrast, Lake Erie had a completely different trend, as the maximum amount of ice fluctuated between only 90% and 95% from 2000 to 2015. By contrast shows that we are talking about a different trend now. Fluctuated is an advanced verb to describe what's going on in the line graph. Only is an amazing word too, because it stresses how small the change is. I'm trying to say that the ice coverage in two lakes varied lots, but the coverage in this lake varied only a bit. As you can see, Words like only are great tools for stressing your message. Let's move on to the last point that we talked about earlier. We noticed a big drop in 2020, right? We need to establish that for Lake Erie. After that point, the percentage dropped dramatically to a mere 40% in 2020. I used after that point as a transition, so it's clear when the decrease began. Dropped is a high-scoring verb to describe that the percentage decreased. Dramatically and mere are awesome words for showing off your vocabulary. The sentence means the percentage went down a lot to 40%. It's really important to use a variety of words. If you don't do this, the IELTS examiner will think you have a limited range of vocabulary. We've described all the trends. Now let's add one more sentence as a conclusion. That way we follow a standard essay format. Here's the conclusion. Looking at the graph, it is clear that overall there was a significant decrease in the maximum amount of surface ice in these 3 Great Lakes in 2020. As you can see, I indented so it's a separate paragraph. I don't have to work hard to think of the perfect wording because I used the sentence starter. Looking at the graph, it is clear that from my template. I tried to summarize all the information. I used overall to show that I'm talking about all 3 lakes. Then I commented on the one point that was common for them all, the significant decrease. We are done with writing. After you finish writing, take time to proofread. Look for grammatical and spelling errors and make sure you punctuate correctly. Plus, see if there are any places that you need more linking words to show how the ideas flow into each other. After proofreading, the essay really is done. That's it! That's how to write a Band 9 answer for a line graph in IELTS Writing Task 1. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their IELTS score too. See you in the next video!